Hello everyone, welcome to episode 3 of Building Tips. Today we'll start talking about textures. Many people don't consider the actual texture part of textures, and a lot of tutorials don't even cover them, but they are in fact quite important in the building process, so let's move right on. One of the biggest parts of a block is whether its texture is smooth or rough. On the left you'll see the smooth textures, which generally remain with only one color with very few interruptions. On the right there are rough textures, which are very noisy and have either multiple colors or multiple shades. As you can see, smooth textures are generally used together. This normally goes for most textures. Smooth and smooth go together, while rough and rough also go together. This rule can be broken if executed well, but for the beginning it's best to stick to. Smooth textures are generally used to achieve a more modern feel, as seen right on your screen. This build is a slightly more complicated example of using rough textures. You may notice that once again I use all rough textures. This is because, as I stated in the beginning, they generally all look good together. However, it's not the worst thing in the world to throw in a smooth block here and there, as it can also give some variation to your build. So let's check this out right here. We've got hay blocks, or hay builds to better say. We've got some oak wood logs. Then we've got some normal wool and some fences instead of windows. That is really important because this is more rough than, for example, having a smooth glass pane. Because yeah, you can tell the difference. This is more modern and smooth, and this is old and farm-like. So I like this house quite a lot. It is not the most fancy thing in the world, but it's cool. You can use it for some sort of little farm, and just to give you some inspiration on what you can do with this. Of course, what we could now do is grab some similar blocks, for example maybe snow, and add it instead of wool somewhere. See, it kind of fits in with the wool, or maybe you could also use quartz and add it into some places, so it adds a little bit of variation and it looks even more roughed up. But I don't know, you gotta fiddle around with it a little bit. The rough and smooth categories can cover most blocks, but there are some blocks that show characteristics of both. 3 of these types are shown in the picture, but there are more out there. These blocks can fit with both rough and smooth textures. This makes them useful, for example, if you want to transition between a rough texture and a smooth texture without having a rough or a smooth edge. That was about everything you need to keep in mind about textures. If you now click the box on the left, you'll be brought to the first episode of Building Tips, where we discuss the Fibonacci sequence in combination with the golden ratio. If you click the box on the right, you'll be brought to the second episode, where we talk about how to use color effectively. As always, I'd really appreciate if you left a like, and while you're at it, why not subscribe? Because you don't want to miss episode 4, where we will be having an in-depth tutorial about depth. Got it? Very nice. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.